Today I will show you a drama, action, horror film from 2016, titled 10 Cloverfield Lane. Michelle is seen quickly and angrily packing all of her things from the apartment she shares with her fiancé. Before leaving, she makes a call that doesn't end well. She grabs a bottle of scotch and leaves the keys next to her engagement ring. Michelle leaves town and stops at a gas station in the middle of nowhere. When she continues driving, her ex-fiancé calls her and she picks up, but doesn't say a word. He begs her not to run away because of one argument and she hangs up. She turns on the radio to listen to the news, which report on a blackout that happened earlier in the day. Ben calls her again, but this time she doesn't answer. Suddenly, something hits her car and she gets pushed off the road. Michelle wakes up with an IV in her arm, not remembering how she got there. She feels that her leg is hurt and checks it, only to find that it is chained to the wall. Looking at the place, it becomes obvious that she's not in a hospital. She sees her things, along with her phone, on the other side of the room and yanks out her IV. Michelle panics for a moment because she can't get to them or unchain her leg, but she calms down and uses the fourth pole to get to her cell phone. Unfortunately, she doesn't have any service. Suddenly, she hears a rumbling noise outside and waits to see her captor. A large man enters, carrying a gun and some food for her. She begs him not to hurt her and let her go, but he just sets her IV back up and tells her that she needs fluids to recover. Terrified, Michelle asks what he'll do to her. The man, Howard, says he'll keep her alive and brings her a set of crutches, telling her to learn how to use them. She tells him that her boyfriend is looking for her, to which he replies that no one actually is. He drops the key to the cuffs on her bed and leaves, locking the hatch behind him. Michelle quickly unchains herself, puts her clothes on and starts looking for a way to escape. She uses the key to the cuffs to sharpen one of the clutches and waits for Howard to come back. At one point she realizes that he won't come back soon, when she hears the air circulating in a vent. She finds her matches and starts a fire inside the vent, then waits. The smoke activates the alarm and Howard rushes to the room, or rather cell. She attacks him, but he quickly incapacitates her and sedates her. Michelle wakes up to a new dinner plate and Howard sitting opposite her, telling her that she's tough. He admires her for that, but isn't willing to put up with it anymore, since he's already been too generous. Howard hands her some painkillers for her leg. She begs him to let her go, but he says that there is no place to go. Furthermore, he saved her life by bringing her there. Howard sits down to explain the situation to her. He says that there was an attack, but that he's not sure what kind it was. He tells her that he found her car flipped over and couldn't leave her there, so he took her to his bunker under his farmhouse. Michelle thanks him, but asks to go to a hospital. Howard says that she can't leave, because if the attack was nuclear or something even worse, there would be fallout and it might be years before they could go outside at all. Luckily, he says that he prepared for something similar. Michelle wants to call her family, but Howard tells her that they're probably dead. Suddenly, there's a racket outside of her room. He excuses himself out and starts yelling at someone. When he comes back, he tells her the same thing he's told the other one, that she needs to eat, sleep and show him some appreciation. Michelle hears a noise on the level above her room and then some music. The door is open, so she walks outside and meets the other person that's in the bunker, Emmett. They talk about what Howard has told them about the fallout, but she just wants to know if there's a way to escape. Emmett believes what Howard has told him. Then, Howard shows up and leads the two of them through the bunker toward the bathroom, telling her what the things there are. There's a common area with various forms of entertainment and a fully equipped kitchen. Michelle almost falls over, and when Emmett tries to help, Howard tells him that he mustn't touch her. He takes her to the bathroom in his private area and tells her that she can only go in there with express permission. She asks for some privacy, but he says that he doesn't trust her enough to leave her there alone and that she can close the curtain. Later, Howard is preparing dinner and telling Michelle about his daughter, when the lights phase out for a moment and the same racket as before can be heard above them. He says that it's the generators, but she wonders if it might be a car. Michelle thinks they should call the police to get information on what is happening, but he tells her that if anyone was alive he would have heard it on his scanner. Howard can tell she doesn't believe him, so he takes her to see some proof. They go to the hatch of the bunker. Howard opens the first part that will get them to an airlock, and, once inside, Michelle takes a look through the window. She sees two dead pigs and he tells her that it's from being exposed to the air. Michelle sees a truck outside too and remembers it from her car crash. Howard tells her that he keeps the outer door sealed at all times, with no one coming in or out. Later, Emmett comes into her room and invites himself to sit down. She asks him what he knows about Howard and he tells her that he was in the Navy, working with satellites. Emmett was the one to help him get the doomsday bunker set up. He comments that Howard is the conspiracy theory type. Michelle asks him if Howard kidnapped him too, but he tells her that he actually hurt his arm trying to get inside the bunker, not out. She doesn't believe the whole doomsday scenario, but Emmett tells her that he actually saw it happen. Michelle doesn't believe him either, and he tries to convince her by telling her that he fought his way in. She tells him that she heard a car above them, but he doesn't think it's possible. Howard interrupts them for dinner. There's an awkward silence at the table, but Howard pours them a drink and starts talking about the food, telling Michelle that she'll learn how to cook. Emmett tries to get on his good side and cheers in his name. He continues to talk, trying to ease the mood, by telling them what he wishes he would have done before. Emmett asks Howard what he wished, but he says that he already did what he needed to do, get prepared. Emmett continues blabbing to Howard's displeasure, so he tells him to be quiet and let them eat in peace. Michelle sees the keys on his belt, then continues the conversation that Emmett had started before. She flirts with him to make Howard angry and succeeds. The man confronts her and calls her ungrateful, asking her to apologize. She tries to get the keys, but fails, then he insists she promises to behave, pinning her to the wall more closely. Michelle makes the promise and sits down, successfully stealing his keys. They continue to eat, when he notices them gone. There's another sound from above and suddenly Michelle hits him and tries to run to the hatch, leaving them behind. She opens the first door before Howard can get to her and locks it behind her. He yells for her not to open the second door, but she sees a car in front and scrambles to open it. Suddenly, a woman that looks hurt appears outside, begging to be let in. Michelle is reluctant, so she asks Howard what to do. He tells her not to. The woman says that it hardly touched her and that she'll be okay. Michelle freezes, unsure of what to do, when the woman starts banging her head on the window. Later, Michelle is crying in her room and Howard comes in to change a light bulb. He tells her that he knows how hard it is to lose the people you love, then confesses that he crashed into her car. Howard had panicked when he heard about what happened and was driving like a madman to get to the bunker, when he ran into her. He tells her that it was an accident, but that it was his fault and he was too afraid to tell her. He apologizes and gives her his daughter's clothes. After Michelle showers and changes, Howard tells her that the woman was his neighbor and, like Emmett, she also knew about the bunker. He thinks that others might come there as well. Then, he tells her that she'll need to stitch up his forehead. She's scared to do it, so he pours her a drink that he distilled himself. They chat and Michelle seems like she's warming up to him. He disinfects the needle and she starts stitching him up, with him saying that she's doing great. After they're done, he gives her a box with her belongings that he managed to save from her car. She opens a sketchbook with her drawings, telling him that she wanted to design clothes. His daughter wanted to be an artist too. Howard shows Michelle a photo of his daughter and talks about her some more. He tells her that her mother took her to Chicago. Sometime later, Emmett and Michelle talk through the wall. He tries to comfort her by saying that she couldn't have helped the woman. They speak about regrets in their lives. He was an athlete in high school and even got a scholarship to a good college, but he got cold feet and never left his hometown. She tells him that she had an abusive father and because of that she always runs away instead of doing something about the situation. Emmett thinks that there must be a reason behind their survival. In the following days, Michelle starts to cozy up a little. Their dinners aren't as awkward anymore. She becomes more relaxed and friendly with Emmett. The three of them even play games together and eventually, she even gets closer with Howard too. One day, Michelle and Emmett are in the common area, having fun and talking, when suddenly the bunker starts shaking and there's some strange noise outside. She calls for Howard asking for reassurance, when they realize they can hear helicopters. He tells them that if it was helicopters, they wouldn't be theirs, but only part of the second phase of the attack. Howard thinks that it might even be extraterrestrials, patrolling for the last remaining signs of life. All of a sudden, an alarm activates. Howard tells them that the air filtration system is malfunctioning and that something must be blocking the hatch. If they don't fix it, they'll run out of air. He tells Michelle that she's the only one that will fit inside the vents and that she needs to restart the filtration system. Before she crawls in, he instructs her on how it's done and tells her not to get stuck because they won't be able to get to her and help. As she moves through the vent, Howard helps her navigate until she reaches the filtration unit. She does what he instructed her to do and restarts the machine, but sees another hatch going outside. It's locked. Michelle sees the word help written from the inside of the window and when she gets down she finds something. When she gets back, she tells Emmett that Howard must have lied about his daughter and shows him the bloody earrings she found. Michelle shows him the photo of the girl and he tells her that she isn't Howard's daughter, but another girl that he knew. At some point she went missing and never came back. The earrings were hers. They find another photo of Howard and the girl wearing the same shirt as Michelle. She thinks that he took her and killed her. The two of them talk about what they could do, but Howard interrupts them and plays music for them. He tells her to shower, just in case of contamination. When she goes to do it, she gets an idea and shares it with Emmett immediately. That night, Howard is watching a movie, and Emmett goes to the kitchen. He steals a pair of scissors, then goes over to talk to him. He puts an idea in his head that Michelle might have brought in the contamination with her when she touched the filtration unit. Howard panics and throws away the shower curtains, then the two of them scoop it out from the trash. Michelle begins designing and creating a protection suit. Emmett helps her find everything that she would need to make it. Most of it is done, and the two of them concoct a plan on how to incapacitate Howard so that one of them can go outside and look for help. One night the three of them play a game of association. There is an awkward moment in the game when Emmett misunderstands what Howard is making him guess, but Michelle steps in and saves him from exposing their whole plan. Later, Michelle is putting the suit together, when she hears something outside. Howard walks in and asks for her help. They join Emmett in the common area, and he shows them a barrel which he needs to be moved into the bathroom. Inside of it is a type of highly corrosive acid that can dissolve most biological material on contact. Suddenly, Howard confronts them, showing them that he found the tools they were using and asking them what they were doing with them. He drops the tools in the acid to scare them, and Emmett confesses, saying that he used the tools. His story is that he wanted to take his gun away from him with some kind of weapon he could make, so that he could get Michelle to respect him the same way she does Howard. He apologizes, but Howard still kills him. Howard talks to Michelle like she's a child, trying to calm her down, saying that he needed to kill Emmett so he couldn't hurt them. Later, Michelle is in Emmett's bunk. She's upset and goes through his things, when Howard brings her some ice cream. He tells her that he wants the two of them to be a happy family. She goes back to her room and finishes the protective suit, when Howard almost catches her with the mask. He walks in and asks her to dinner, but a bolt falls from the vent and he goes to check it. Howard doesn't find the mask, however he sees a piece of the suit under her mattress and uncovers the whole thing. Michelle locks him in her room and runs to get the liquid nitrogen. Howard catches up to her and she spills the acid on him, managing to escape. The acid causes a fire to break out in the bunker, as she's hurrying to get the suit. Howard, still alive somehow, catches up to her again, but she incapacitates him. Michelle straps the suit to her leg and goes inside the vent. As she's crawling through, she sees that Howard isn't where she left him, and suddenly he stabs through the vent. He opens one of the hatches and grabs her, telling her that she doesn't know what's outside and that she can't run from them. Howard begs her to stay, but she breaks out of his grip and gets to the filtration system room. Michelle puts the suit on and goes up the stairs. She sprays the lock with the nitrogen, but it doesn't break immediately. In a panic she sprays it again and hits it harder, eventually breaking it off. Michelle makes it outside of the bunker and instantly heads for the truck. She rips her suit getting in, but manages to close the hole. Suddenly, she hears birds chirping and sees them flying in the sky, so she takes her mask off. As she's taking a big gulp of air, she hears something in the distance and sees some kind of flying object. Suddenly, the bunker explodes. The object heads straight toward her and drops something in the crop. Michelle can't find the keys to the truck, so she goes to the woman's car, accidentally activating the alarm. She hears something behind her and hides in a nearby shed. The woman's body is there too. Michelle peeks through the window and sees some kind of creature approaching the car and lifting it like it weighs nothing at all. Getting a better glimpse of the alien sends her in a panic, and she rushes to find the woman's car keys. The thing peers inside the shed, but Michelle distracts it by turning off the car alarm. She walks outside and starts running to a nearby house, screaming for help while the little creature is after her, when she suddenly hears an ominous sound. The little one is gone and a giant one appears behind the house, spraying it with something. Michelle puts her mask back on, but the little creature sees her and goes after her again. She barely escapes it. Suddenly, tentacles appear all around the truck and a giant creature picks her up. As she's being pulled into its mouth, Michelle finds a lighter and the bottle of scotch. She makes an explosive out of it fast and throws it into the mouth of the giant, blowing it up. Michelle survives. The creature doesn't. She takes the woman's car and drives away from the farm. Suddenly, the radio turns on and she hears a human message telling survivors where to go. Michelle is faced with a decision: go to the liberated town of Baton Rouge or head to Houston where the fight is still in progress. She turns for Houston.